It's been at least a couple hours since the New York Knicks eliminated the Boston Celtics and advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals, and there are still people going crazy in New York City celebrating this big win. I mean, there are people crowd surfing on fences, climbing light posts, and just swarming the streets. Things are going crazy in New York. I can't even explain. And you know what? I don't blame them, because this is the first time in over 20 years where the New York Knicks have made a conference finals, and they deserve every single bit of that success. When the Knicks started this entire playoff run by going up against the Detroit Pistons, I don't know if you guys remember how physical that series was. It felt like every other game there was a big fight, and just, you know, the refs wouldn't call every single foul. It was just a very physical, total 90s and early 2000s type of series. And with the Knicks just barely squeezing by a young and, you know, promising team that doesn't really have much playoff history, it was a little bit scary to see them go up against the reigning champions. I think a lot of people had the Boston Celtics taking this series simply because the Knicks didn't really handle the Pistons with ease, right? And the Boston Celtics, they're the reigning champions. They have been here before. They just got done doing it. And then the Knicks took both games at the Garden. And right? Like, am I wrong? Did I dream that? That can't be real. Yep, sorry. I just had to confirm that I wasn't just making things up out of nowhere. They took both games at the Garden. And after that, it was like, yeah, okay, we're cooked. It's over. The Knicks are going to win this series. They take both games in Boston. That's never, we have never heard of that. And there were a lot of differences in the games that Boston won. And it was mainly the three-point shooting. A lot of these games, I think it was the first two, the Boston Celtics did not shoot good whatsoever. And in those games, the New York Knicks just barely got themselves by. One of them went into overtime, but a lot of them, there wasn't that big of a point differential. The New York Knicks, you know, did their thing. They, you know, had their comebacks, the 20-point, you know, comebacks that they had in the fourth quarter. They did their thing. They played great. I'm not trying to say this to discredit what they've done, but in these games, to be frank, the Boston Celtics were not playing like the Boston Celtics we all knew. They could not shoot for the life of them. And also taking into account that Porzingis is dealing with some sort of mystery thing. I don't even know what to call it. And then the Boston Celtics started shooting good. Derek White started knocking down shots. Tatum, Brown, and literally everybody on their team was stepping up and playing the way that we knew the Boston Celtics could play. And so things started to look scary for New York. You're losing in MSG. You had a chance to go up 3-0 and sweep them at home, and you don't do that. But as we all know, Jason Tatum ends up going down with what we find out is a torn Achilles. Obviously, heart goes out to him. It's been very emotional to see just, you know, how people have kind of responded to that. Tatum is, for some reason, one of the most hated players in the league. I don't know why. And that was really a turning moment for this series, because when you see them come out in Boston and the way that they responded to that by getting themselves a win and making this a, you know, game 6 and, you know, back in MSG with a chance to push it to a game 7, there were some people who thought, okay, Jason Tatum being out has provided this boost to the team where they now know we are not going to get Tatum back. It's not like a, you know, Steph Curry situation where you don't know whether or not he'll be back for the series. It was like Tatum's gone. And so it almost added this kind of boost to the team where Tatum is saying, hey, good luck. Do this for me. You know, win for Tatum. And they go out there. They get themselves a dominant win. Jaylen Brown did his thing. Derek White dropped 30-plus points. It was the Luke Cornett game because Porzingis finally got his ass benched. Like, things started to look a little bit more interesting for Boston because of the guys like Cornett, because you really saw everybody else step up and say, you know what, we need to win this series. But unfortunately for Boston, that was something that literally lasted one game. And it's not even like there were any little bits or, you know, remnants of the hope that they had in game 5 that boiled into game 6. There was nothing. Game 6 was complete domination from start to finish. As we all know, Tom Thibodeau, we knew he wasn't going to let it, you know, be from start to mid-third quarter. It was from tip-off to the last whistle. Starters were in. I mean, PJ Tucker was in there to get his 5 threes, but it was complete blowout domination. And the one thing that I really noticed from this Knicks team that I was so happy with, and I feel like goes to show what it means to play under a guy like Tibbs, they were up by a ridiculous amount. I mean, by the end of the first quarter, it was basically game over. But it was around the third quarter where we saw Josh Hart go for this rebound after an OG missed 3. Just this complete, like, hustle play that when you're up that much, when you know the game is basically yours. You don't have to go for that. And that steal or that rebound that Josh Hart ended up getting, kicked out to OG Anunoby, got themselves a 3, just added to the momentum of the game. And I know it might sound a little bit silly to pick on that one little play that, doesn't really matter in the long run and say, wow, that was so important. But that goes to show you this Knicks team is never going to give up. And you could put that alongside their 20-point comebacks. That is something that I noticed that was huge. And the most fun part about that being the case for this Knicks team, like the fact that they will never give up and there will always be hustling out there on the court, that's basically what the Indiana Pacers are. And that is going to be our conference finals matchup. We have, for the first time since 2000, the New York Knicks making the conference finals, the Pacers making it back-to-back years, and it just so happens to be the exact same teams from that 2000 matchup that the New York Knicks last time they were in the conference finals. The same teams in the Pacers and New York Knicks. It is going to be absolutely electric in both Gainsbridge Fieldhouse, I believe is their arena name, and then also MSG. This is going to be one of the best conference finals we have seen in so much time. MSG already hates Tyrese Halliburton, already hates the Indiana Pacers, not only because of the 2000 stuff, but because they met up last year too in round 2. So there is already hatred for both these teams going into this conference finals. I guess I'll kind of go into my predictions for this series or what I think is going to happen. I will be honest with you guys. I do want the New York Knicks to win. And it's not that I have anything against the Pacers or, I don't want them to succeed or whatever. Because to be honest, I love both these teams. Either way, I'll be somewhat happy with whoever makes it to the finals. But if I'm going to be honest with you guys, I have a vacation to New York as soon as the NBA finals start. So if the Knicks can make it to the finals and I'm in New York, not only will the content be amazing for you guys, but I will get to experience something that I never thought in a million years I would be able to experience. So yes, I will be rooting for the New York Knicks, but there's a lot of circumstances and scenarios that can hold them back from making such a big run. And I think the biggest thing that can cause them to really fumble this conference finals is the team not stepping up. And that really goes for Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, and Mikal Bridges. There is times where we see Josh Hart shoot just abysmal and he gets a shit ton of attempts for barely no reason. He's like 3 for 13 or whatever. But I'm going to focus more on like the Karl Anthony Towns performances because every time he plays aggressive, the Knicks win. We saw it in today's game. He was attacking the basket. He was attacking the paint. Barely even shot in this series. I think he was, I don't know the exact number, but he barely shot any threes in this series, or he barely made any. And it's another thing where OG Anunoby, when you have his reliable shooting and overall scoring that he gives you, that is a huge boost. It can't just be Jalen Brunson, especially against this Indiana Pacers team, which is like the definition of team basketball. Their entire team, it's like, okay, when is somebody going to just have a bad night so they can lose a game? It never happens. The entire team is so connected, it's insane. So for the Knicks, heavy emphasis on Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, and their offensive side of the ball. Obviously, you hope that they don't foul as well, specifically Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson. You know that OG is going to do his thing on the defensive end. Deuce McBride also has the chance to be just like the hero like he is in some games. I mean, in this one, he played amazing as well. He got this really nice chase down block and then hit a 3 going into halftime that really boosted the energy in this game. So he has a chance to do his thing. But for the Pacers and what they can do, I know that their team, for the most part, will always kind of be there. I mean, the chances of the Pacers' entire team having an off night compared to the Knicks is pretty drastic. I feel like it's somewhat more common we see the Knicks team and surrounding cast kind of crumble than we do the Indiana Pacers. But what we do see is Tyrese Halliburton not play aggressive. And those are the games, and we saw it in their series against the Cavs, where it was like, what are you doing? Why aren't you attacking the rim? Why are you only shooting X amount of attempts? And that's something where, if the Knicks can really limit what Tyrese Halliburton can do offensively, and you maybe try to let the other guys on the team be the ones that step up and score and make the game, I think that might be the move that you try to do. So yeah, I guess my prediction will be New York Knicks in 6. That's going to be my guess. That's going to be my guess. That's a little bit basic because they just won in 6 for this series. But yeah, that being said, if you don't like the New York Knicks, I understand if you disagree with what I'm about to say, but I feel like, me personally, the NBA is so much better when the Knicks are a good basketball team. The fans go crazy. The environment is wild. It's the first time probably ever around the entire league where we see celebrities that actually care about the game. I'm sorry, but there is no celebrity in LA that loves the Lakers as much as fucking Timothy Chalamet loves the Knicks, or Ben Stiller, or anybody in New York, to be honest. So seeing the excitement and the celebrations over just advancing in the playoffs, obviously conference finals aside, they do do this when they make it through the first round. It's just so much fun to see. So yeah, hopefully they make it to the finals, and you know, I'll be in New York if they do make it all the way there. If you want to see those videos, because they will be crazy, be sure to go down there and subscribe to the channel, like the video while you're down there as well, and be sure to comment your opinion on this series. Whether you want to talk about the Boston Celtics and Knicks round that we just saw, or you want to talk about your predictions for Pacers versus Knicks, go ahead, drop it all down there. I read and respond to everybody. And that being said, I will see you guys all in the next one. Later.